now I've learned several things that actually are not predominantly taught when it comes to law of attraction manifestation, just were completely eye-opening, mind-shifting, changed the game for me. So a quick rundown on law of attraction manifestation basically is that anything you want or desire, you can attract, create in your life with your mind. We all have this energy print that is created through our thoughts and our emotions. Our thoughts create emotions that creates this energy print. And whatever our energy print is, our outside world will reflect it. So when we desire something to have in our physical reality, we need to have the same energy that is going to match that desire. The person I was a year ago, being over 200 pounds, carries a completely different energy print than the fit version of me, the dream body version of me. So the goal, of course, is how do I get from A to B? And it's by matching the energy first. It's not, I have the fit body, so now I have this certain energy about me. You have to have the energy without actually seeing it in your physical world, and then it happens. And I know that's true because in my past weight loss experiences, every time I've lost weight and got fairly lean, for me, I became a different person. I can see I had a different energy print. And for me, it was usually by external forces. It was one time I watched a lot of motivational videos that changed my energy print. One time was moving and having a new job. All of the excitement and newness and positive thoughts created amazing energy, and the weight fell off without me even trying. So the goal is to get the energy first, and it's really hard to do because we are very reactive naturally. We see a hot stove, we touch it, we react. So we are constantly reacting to our outside world and then creating that energy. So we just keep getting tons and tons of the same thing and wondering why things can't change and wondering why I can't lose the weight, wondering why all of this, the same things keep happening. How come I can't break out of the cycle? Because I'm constantly reacting to what is instead of creating a whole new energy, the energy of this fit me. And a good example of how we create this energy is if you think of a newborn baby, it probably brings warm, good, happy feelings. That creates a good, warm energy print. If you think of boredom, it's probably a sinking feeling, probably a negative feeling, an itch, like oof. So each picture or each thought creates a different emotion, and that emotion becomes part of the energy print. This is the most important thing for me when it comes to law of attraction manifestation. Your imagination is reality. Your imagination is reality. We tend to think of this physical world as our reality, but it's actually just a delayed product of what goes on up here. And we are all amazing manifestors. We just don't realize we're manifesting. We don't realize everything is actually up here in our imagination, in our head, in our thoughts, whatever energy we are producing. That is the real world. That is reality. That's where we create. Everything that we can see, touch, feel, taste, hear, that is just a delayed product of everything that happened up here. And this just shifted gears. It turned on the switch for me when it comes to manifestation. That, I think, is the key to manifestation, is understanding that our imagination, our thoughts, our energy, that is reality. Everything else is just the delayed product of it. It's just the byproduct of it. This is stuff that happened a while ago up in our heads. As I learn this and go about my day, I have to keep reminding myself that this is all delayed byproduct of past thoughts, experiences, and energy print that I'm sending out into the world. Things don't just happen by happenstance. They're all created in our head first. And that's why we're such magnificent manifestors. We just don't realize we're doing it. So we're on autopilot, reacting to everything around us in the world, getting the same cycle of the same thing because we see it, we react to it, we send off that energy, we get it again, see it, react, energy. So it's just a cycle over and over again because we're just on autopilot. We don't even realize that we're manifesting and that we have control of it, over it. We've always had control over it. We just weren't consciously manifesting. So now that we know, like, we can decide what energy print we want to send off to create a different reality. It's all created in our imagination first. This is just the, like, you know, I have to rewire my brain and keep telling myself this over and over again because, of course, this is our physical world. We see it, taste it, smell it, touch it. There's this guy, I haven't even like studied him, Neville something, I'll put his name down below. But he said something about if you can be faithful to your imagination is the key, something along those lines. But being able to be faithful to your imagination, being able to be faithful to what's going on up here and prioritize what's up here. The world within creates the world outside of us. Just okay. Number 2, when it comes to manifestation, it's supposed to be fun. If we are stressed and like, I've got to manifest this, I've got to bring this into my experience, blah, 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 blah. That's not right. Manifesting is supposed to be fun. We are manifestors, we are creators. We're supposed to be having fun doing this. We can create whatever reality we want. So we're supposed to be having fun doing this. And one of my favorite quotes, I don't know why I thought of this, is angels fly so high because they take themselves so lightly. And I always love that. And, you know, yeah, I mean, we're supposed to be having fun with this. If we can create whatever we want, whenever we want, it should be fun. And that's what allows it in. You don't get resistance when you're having fun because a lot of things block us from manifesting, and it's all that resistance. So it's really about letting ourselves just have fun with it and enjoy the process of manifesting and daydreaming about these things that we do want. Okay, so this is something really cool that I learned that I did not even think about when it comes to manifesting and attracting things into our lives. Sometimes part of manifesting is removing a belief, not just creating thoughts and visualizing so that we create a certain energy to attract, but sometimes it's about removing a belief. So if our energy print is the color purple and the life we want is the color blue, sometimes it's removing the red. Sometimes all you have to do is remove the red to get the blue, and then your energy matches up with the life you want. This is one of the things that I recently shared that I had a limiting belief about, an incorrect belief about. I used to think that liking my body or liking the way I looked was vain. It wasn't ever anything I said out loud or thought to myself. It was just an internal association I had. So every time I would lose weight, get in shape, and start liking the way I felt, I would worry that I was getting vain. And I think it comes from a place of wanting to be humble, wanting to be that kind person. I was afraid to become vain. And if I believe that liking the way I look makes me vain, then, you know, that's a block. So I'd have to remove that color, remove that belief. So now I tell myself, like, it's good to like the way you look. It's good to feel good about yourself. It's good to love your outfit. It's good to have fun picking out outfits and see what you like and say, oh, that looks cute. That's something I'm still like teaching myself, still talking to myself, telling myself those things every day, because, you know, it's one of those things that's ingrained. You like, I don't want to be vain. Okay, so the fourth thing that I really thought was important when it comes to learning the skill of manifesting, law of attraction, controlling your thoughts to control your energy, is that there's going to be periods of doubt. There's going to be periods of feeling like you're not making any progress at all, sadness, any negative feelings are going to happen more than likely. I've already gone through this where I just kind of felt like, you know, I don't even know where to go, what to do, just feeling like a little bit lost. And I think that is really just a shedding of a part of myself. I think to have those kind of negative emotions is really just letting a part of yourself go. Maybe it's like letting go of those beliefs and all that thing. Those are all pieces of ourselves. So any negative emotions, sadness, or feeling like you're just not even making any progress, I think is completely normal. What I did was, it'll get better. This too shall pass. It'll get better tomorrow, and it'll get a little bit better the next day. It'll always get a little bit better and a little bit better. So I think that's completely normal. Just have to remember that it's going to get better, and it is getting better. Okay, the fifth and final thing when it comes to manifesting, and then we'll go into the action steps part of it. This is probably the hardest part, is seeing your physical reality, wanting certain things to change, and then being able to hold the energy of what you want. To me, that has been one of the hardest parts. And there's a couple ways you can go about it. One, you can kind of just completely ignore it and try to sort of avoid it as much as possible, because if you're in the habit of seeing, reacting, creating that energy, you're just going to keep getting it back and back again. So for me, I am no longer getting on the scale. I am trusting that I'll just kind of know when I feel okay, where I won't react to seeing what is and creating that energy of, I'm not going to say it. I am living in the energy. I'm trying to keep myself living in the energy of the body that I want. The other way that has really shifted gears, and I think shifted my energy that I can feel, is when you can't avoid it, talk to it in the past tense. So when I see pictures around my house and I wish that I looked smaller in the pictures, I just say, oh, that's my old self. I used to look like that. I used to live the life of up and down on my weight loss journey. That is an old story. That's who I used to be. I no longer beat that drum of weight loss roller coaster, yada yada. That's a closed chapter in my life. And maybe that's kind of why I had a little moment where I kind of felt sad, because I'm closing that chapter. I'm closing a door on a part of myself, a part of my life, which is a good thing. You know, I want to always grow and evolve as a human being. I don't want to stay the same. I want to get better and better and get to the next level and next level and next level. But that has helped me a lot, looking at pictures, looking at things, looking at, if I catch a glimpse in the mirror and it is something that I do not want, then I remind myself that my imagination is reality. What I'm seeing in the mirror is old news. That's an old product of past energy that I produced. I produce a new energy now. And soon I'm going to see it reflect in my 3D reality. A lot of people in the law of attraction community say 3D reality, physical world. So I kind of like that 3D. It's kind of like an easy way to say it. So I may say 3D instead of physical world, physical reality. So crazy that 3D, physical reality, is a byproduct of energy. It's literally just churning out whatever is going on in our heads that's creating that energy, and then turning that energy into matter. They call that the quantum realm. Joe Dispenza calls it the quantum field, because it's not where we can see it, taste it, touch it, smell it. It's all energy. And we are all energy. We're all made up of energy. That's one of Albert Einstein's. I'm not even going to try and like mess it up, because I don't know all of the science behind it. But Einstein, basically E equals mc squared, basically, from what I understand, says that energy and matter are interchangeable. Like our thoughts, our emotions, what we feel creates an energy. That energy then produces matter, which is our physical world. And I wish I really understood all of the science behind it. I don't, but that's enough to tell me, like, wow, to see that Einstein realized this whole law, how this works, you know, all that stuff is just kind of crazy to me. This was in the movie The Secret. So why, if we stub our toe first thing in the morning, and I think working on your energy first thing in the morning is one of the best things because our brain is fresh, we don't have momentum of other thoughts going. And that's why if you stub your toe first thing in the morning and you react and think, oh my gosh, I can't believe this, it hurts so bad, and then it happens again, your whole day turns like that because you have something in your physical reality, you create a reaction, that reaction creates an energy, and it just builds momentum all day. And then we go home, go to sleep, we lose the momentum of it, and then the next day's better. But if we keep momentum of all these other things and it keeps going every day, that's why we have kind of the same thoughts every day, a lot of the same thoughts or similar thoughts that give out similar energy and creates our life. It's the dominant energy that creates our life, it creates our physical world. So all we really have to worry about is the energy that we're producing. And that's usually decided by the thoughts that we have in our head. It creates an emotion, a feeling, which is the energy that we're putting out. Okay, so what action steps to take? What to do with this information? For me, there's like 4 big things. The first thing is the affirmations. This is what I started with every morning when I wake up, and every night right before I go to bed. In my head, I'm thinking, I love being in the best shape of my life. I'm so happy now that I'm in the best shape of my life. It's so nice feeling as fit as I am. And then throughout the day, if I'm in my car or something and think about it, I'll say some affirmations. I love being so fit. It feels so good to be so fit, yada, yada, yada. And then the second thing is visualizing as if it already happened, picturing yourself driving in the car, already fit, already in shape. And then these last 2 things are probably the most powerful things, but probably also the hardest ones to do. The third one is to write down your life as a fit person in past tense. For me, I like to think of things that I know I'm going to do later. So if you know that you're cooking dinner later on, I cooked dinner last night and it felt so good to feel light. It felt so good to feel lean. It felt so good to like my body. It felt so good, XYZ. So using things that are in the future and talking about them, writing them down in the past tense. If you know you're going to the beach in 3 months, I had so much fun at the beach. It felt so good to be able to find a bathing suit that I enjoyed wearing. It felt so good to feel comfortable in my bathing suit. And here's the kicker. We don't want to use the negative words like, oh, I'm so glad I wasn't self-conscious. You know, you're still having the thought and energy of being self-conscious. So instead of thinking about what we don't want, we have to retrain our minds to focus on what we do want. And it's tricky because a lot of times we're like, oh, it felt so good to not be embarrassed. But that's still all the universe, the law of attraction, all it sees is embarrassed. That's the energy print, embarrassed. So instead of that, you have to stop, or I have to stop and think, okay, what is the desired result? Confident, content, enjoying, having fun, because when you're having fun, you're not embarrassed. You're not, you know, you can't be embarrassed and having fun at the same time. So it's having fun, feeling light, all of those things. And this is the training part, is being able to acknowledge when we're looking at the problem and look towards the solution, look towards the desire, look towards the want. So it felt so good to just have fun and laugh and joke around and blah, 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 blah. So all of it in the past tense. So there's 2 key points when doing this that I've learned, is that you want to make it almost boring and mundane when you do this. Because if you're creating the energy of already having it, excitement only really happens when you first get something. when you first get your phone, it's like, oh my gosh, I got this new phone and look at all these things I can do with it. And over the weeks, over the months, over the years, yeah, I love having my phone. I love being able to Google something when I need it. Oh, I love being able to, just pick up and call someone. I love being able to take a picture. But that excitement that, oh my gosh, I've got an iPhone, blah, blah, blah. You're not in that constant state throughout, after that initial excitement. So it's about having it now, because there's plenty of things that we really wanted that we have now, but we're not like, oh my gosh, look at this, look what I got. It's just, yeah, I enjoy it. Yeah, I like having it, but it's not everything. So same thing with being fit. Oh, it does feel so good to get in shape, but it's not everything. Yeah, it's nice to have energy throughout the day. Yeah, it's nice to be able to pick out cute clothes. It's nice to go shopping for clothes and pick out my outfit for the day, but it's not everything. So it's almost mundane. And my favorite thing is when I'm in the car, because, just because you get a fit body doesn't mean everything's like flowers and yada yada. It's still, life goes on. It's still everyday life. So you just kind of, make it mundane and a little bit boring. Oh, it is so great to be fit, but that's not everything. It is nice to have this energy, but I've got to go to work and do this, and I've got to cook this tonight and blah, 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 but I'm all doing it while being fit. The second thing is, this is probably the hardest part for me, is actually sitting down, pulling out a notebook, grabbing a pen and writing it down. I tell you what, I got everything else that needs to get done except for writing down in the past tense the things I wanted. It was like, I don't know why I haven't done it yet. Like, it's the hardest thing to actually make yourself, or for me it was, to sit down and actually do it, to actually write in the past tense of the things I desired. I think maybe it was a little overwhelming, because it's like, oh, all of these things I can have, and I've just got to write it down in the past tense. So I just said, okay, let me just do one thing. Let me just focus on one thing. So just pick one thing you want. Didn't let myself get too combobulated. The other reason why I think it's so hard to do, and I was met with so much resistance about sitting down and actually writing these things, it's like, if it's so simple, why aren't I doing it? And I think the resistance is because I have had so much momentum on this energy. I've had this channel for the past, how many years, and especially I've been uploading videos again for the past 2 or 3 years. So I have a lot of momentum in this old energy to actually stop and start changing my energy and writing it down. Writing it down brings, I think, a more powerful energy to it. It puts it into action. It puts it into the physical world. And I think it's just an uncomfortable thing, because it's our human nature to be comfortable, want to stay in what's comfortable. And I think I felt the resistance of change in my energy. I knew there would be change in my energy writing this down. I could feel it. And I think that's what was the resistance from me going to sit down and actually writing in my notebook. So I just said, okay, I'm just going to write down 5 things. I don't have to figure everything out. I don't have to write everything that I want right now. I can add to it later. Just pick 5 things. And I started with 1, and I only did 1, but I ended up doing 2.5 pages worth of that one thing. I ended up writing 2.5 pages of that one thing because it was so, I think, such a shift for me, that sometimes I would write something down, but I knew I didn't feel it or I didn't believe it. So it has to be kind of things that you can see happening. And so I had to keep writing it until I felt that energy in the past tense, like, I've already done this. I'm already this fit person. I already have this fit body. It just takes repetition over and over. I even wrote like one sentence over and over again until I felt that energy shift, because it's so, I think I just have so much of that old momentum going. So it's just taking repetition over and over, and it's making me like, I can't wait to write in it again, because I feel the energy shift. It is changing things. But I definitely have to either rearrange things so there's not so much resistance, or write it over and over again until I really feel like this is something I've already accomplished. It's already in the past tense. And again, it's a completely different energy when or for me, when I'm writing it down. It makes it so, I guess, real, so much more real. So I really love writing it down. And I used to have a gratitude book back in the day, and I think writing it down really helped me back then. I love the idea of making it like daily task, putting in past tense daily task with the thing that you want, because it again makes it more real up in your imagination, which of course creates the reality. Things like, you know, driving in your car or cooking, or, you know, just your regular daily task. And I wonder if that's part of one of my like incorrect beliefs that I have to let go of, or had to let go of, is that having this fit body that I want is kind of like, okay, I'm done. Kind of like this grandiose, now everything is going to be happily ever after. I think when I would lose the weight before, and I remember one time kind of feeling like a little disappointed. And I think it's because I thought like, okay, once I get fit and in shape, you know, everything's going to work out great. And you still got to go to work. You still got to do all these things. You still have, you know, people cutting you off in traffic. It's not just all, you know, rainbows, right? Like life still happens. And so I think that was kind of a incorrect belief. And that's easy to do, especially with, you know, social media. You kind of see people, you know, the highlight reel, and you think their life is like this. And you know, we all have regular day-to-day tasks that we have to take care of. I think the correct belief for me is that this is the joy of life. We have something we see in the real world that we don't want. It creates the desire, okay, I want to get fit and in shape. And then we manifest it, we create it with our energy. And then something else happens again that you want to change, creates a desire, manifest it again. So I think, you know, that's how it's supposed to be, a constant cycle of seeing something you want, desiring it, creating it in our lives, having a new desire. So it's not just like, oh, I get in shape and happily ever after, but get in shape. Okay, now what do I want to experience in my life now? Okay, what do I want to experience now? What's the new desire? I think that's probably the beautiful part of life that isn't really like portrayed in the movies, because in the movies we kind of feel like, oh, happily ever after. But I think that really is the joy of life, is constant readjusting, constantly getting to the next level, because we see something we want, we get it, and then we go to the next level. Okay, what's new? What's the next challenge? Okay, that creates a new desire in us. Every challenge, everything we don't want, creates something that we do want. We just have to practice, you know, acknowledging, okay, this is what I don't want, but not sit and tug at it. We want to like sit and tug at it because we do fix things in the physical world. We think with our minds we can fix it and figure it out. Instead, we fix it with our energy. But I think that's so important, is not to dwell on the problem, and training our minds to see the problem and then look for the solution, look for the desire. What is the desire? Focus on the desire, not the problem. And I think it's so easy to just kind of get stuck in looking at the problem instead of what is the solution. So for example, if you're in a situation where it's like, oh, I can't pay my bills, and constantly thinking, oh, I don't have enough this, I don't have enough that, don't have enough XYZ, and you just stay there. Oh, another bill. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, instead of playing that record over and over again, realizing our imagination is reality. This is where everything actually happens. And then start thinking about the solution and creating the energy of the solution. What does it feel like to just have my bills on auto pay? I don't have to worry about it coming out on my account. Going to eat and not worrying about how much you're ordering, what the bill's going to be. Just enjoying, feeling those emotions and creating that energy as if it's right now. Okay, I got two last points. I know this is a long video, but two more. We're almost there. We don't have to worry about how things are done. We want to fix things, we fix a lot of things in our physical world. I wish I could explain how all of that works in the quantum field and the quantum realm and the energy space, but I don't know how that happens. We just have to trust that it takes care of itself, and I've seen it in past experiences in my life. My energy and what manifests is always a match. The law of attraction, all, whatever it is, takes care of it. You don't have to worry about the logistics of how to do it. What will happen is you will start to get inspired action, inspired images, things to do, to take action, and trust that the law of attraction, the universe, whatever you want to call it, will inspire you just to do things and say things. It will just naturally happen. A good way to know, I love this trick, a good way to know how if it's inspired or if it's just your logical mind thinking, but inspiring meaning that it's coming from the quantum field or quantum energy or whatever it's called. Right before you have the inspired thoughts or the inspired action, it will be a void right before it. It'll be like blank. It'll be like it pops out of thin air. But you always can look back and think, oh, was I thinking before that thought popped in my head? And if it just there was a void or blank space before it and then it just popped in your head, that's usually how you know it's inspired action. And if you think about it, you notice a lot of people who, like inventors or people that creating things, will kind of say, oh, it just popped in my head. Oh, this idea popped in my head. It's because it's inspired action, and because it's always just kind of like blank space, like you weren't really thinking about anything, and then it just pops in your head. And then allow yourself to do it, say it, even if it doesn't make sense. That's inspired action, putting you in the positions to create the desired reality. And you want to make sure you're having fun with this. This is a place of ease, and that's what allows it in. If we are coming from a place of neediness and I have to have it, it's giving an energy of not having it. So that's the resistance. That's the blockage that has to be removed. So you're doing it right if you're having fun with it, if you're getting excited about it. Along with writing in the past tense, a lot of people in the law of attraction community will talk about how gratitude is so powerful. And what I'm finding out is that it is powerful, but as I'm writing things in past tense, I love having my dream body. The gratitude kind of happens as a result for me of talking in the past tense. I think about it, I feel gratitude for it naturally. The gratitude is not something that's forced. I have pictures pop in my head of the fit body that I want. These things just kind of happen naturally as I'm thinking about saying the affirmations and writing the past tense things down. All right, you guys, we're almost there. Last action step. This is one of the hardest things, and I'm working on it, is the discipline of thought. The thoughts create the energy print, energy field, and disciplining it is one of the hardest things because we are on so much autopilot. We just think a million thoughts a day, not even realizing it. As I've been doing this, I've had so many moments where I'm like, I didn't even realize like this whole stream of thoughts. So being able to practice over and over again, just being aware of what did I just think? What was I just thinking? What energy print did that create? It's hard because we have so much momentum over years that just build up and build up. It's habit now. I think that's why a lot of us, it takes so long to see change in our life, because if we don't even realize we're manifesting, we are on one energy field track, one dominant energy field track for so long. Something happens in our life that shifts that, and then it changes. But we have this momentum going, and it's usually not until something external, something in the physical world that we react to changes our energy, and then changes our reality. I'm practicing patience with myself on changing this momentum and slowing it down, reminding myself that those thoughts don't serve me. And it's hard because if you see something that you don't want, you want to pick at it and analyze it and figure out how to fix it. And before you know it, you've been thinking about this one thing for 20 minutes, it's creating an energy field that does not serve me. Anything that doesn't make you feel good is going to create a reality that does not feel good. Anything that makes you feel good is going to create a reality that does make you feel good. So the name of the game is really about feeling as good as you can, as much as you can. And of course, you're going to have dips down, but I think as you practice the skill, as you continue going on, you get better and better at it. Your dips become shorter and shorter. The key thing is to be aware of thoughts. A lot of times when I get caught up in that, like, oh, I want to pull at this thread, and it's like, it's almost addictive, like you don't want to pull away from it, but wait, I can figure this out. I have to literally say to myself, no, I'm in control of my thoughts. These thoughts are producing bad energy I don't want, to create a world I don't want. It does not serve me. I'm in control of my thoughts. I'm going to think of something else. Then I say, okay, well, what is the desire? And then start thinking about the desire. And you'll kind of, go back and forth, but try as much as you can to just think about the desire and what that means and what that feels like. You don't have to pull at the thread. You don't have to figure it out. Law of attraction, the quantum field, quantum energy, all that stuff will take care of it. You don't have to pull at the thread. Trust that the law of attraction is going to take care of it. It's easier to trust this when I look back at evidence of this happening in my life, when I think about something and it manifesting. And you kind of just say, like, I'll let law of attraction handle it. I'm going to let law of attraction kind of take that off my shoulders. I don't have to worry about it anymore. I'm just going to focus on what the desire that came out of this problem is. And so if you're in a negative feeling thought, you just think of a better thought, a better feeling thought, something that makes you feel a little bit of ease, something that makes you feel a little bit better. If you get like cut off in the middle of traffic and you want to get mad at that person, that's not creating the right energy. And so being aware of that first, and this is the practice over and over throughout the day of being aware of all of these little situations and scenarios that create negative energy in our lives. And so if someone cuts me off and I start to want to pull at that thread of being cut off, one, I'm not going to let that person have power over my thoughts and my emotions. I'm in control of my thoughts and my emotions. I'm not going to let that person have power over me and how I feel right now. And two, have I ever cut someone off in traffic? This is a big thing. Like if you're mad at somebody, have I ever done it? Yeah, I've cut somebody off. I've, been in a hurry. It's just a better feeling energy to be like, oh, well, I've done that, finding ways to kind of massage it into a better feeling and a better feeling, because if you feel a certain way and you immediately just try to reject it, like, oh, I shouldn't be thinking that thought, what you resist persists. So you're just going to make it stronger and more powerful. So instead of trying to fight it or deny that feeling or pretend like that feeling was never there, because no matter what words we say, our energy, we know. So instead of trying to fight it, just try to massage it into something a little bit easier, a little bit better feeling. And instead of trying to push it away, you just start thinking about something else, like purple elephant. Now a purple elephant probably just popped in your head. So instead of saying, oh, I don't want to think about a red ball, you're still thinking about the red ball. If you're like, don't think about the red ball, instead you just, oh, purple elephant. You just redirect your attention to somewhere else, a lot like, instead of focusing on the problem, focusing on the solution. But yeah, so that's it. That's one of the hardest things, is because we have so many thoughts that we're not even aware of. And so practicing being aware and monitoring our thoughts and monitoring what energy we're putting out is taking a lot of work. It's taking a lot of a lot of work, because it's something new. It's something that, we don't normally do. And just the practice of doing that over and over again, being aware of the thoughts and then saying, okay, redirecting. It's like repetition over and over again, and it's rewiring our brains, learning a new skill. And so that's why it's one of the hardest things, but it's fun to be like, oh, I'm catching these things. Oh, I'm noticing things that I didn't even realize before. So it is fun, and it is fun enjoying the process. And you will have those moments where you feel like, oh, I don't even know what I'm doing, but it gets better, and it gets better and better and better. Yeah, so that's my law of attraction manifestation formula manual, that just what I felt wasn't really predominantly shown. That's really done a lot for me. Thank you guys for hanging in here with me if you made it all the way to the end. I know this was a super long one. Thank you guys. I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any evidence of this in your life or your thoughts down below in the comments. Hopefully this will be one of those videos as I continue to manifest and create things in my life that I always refer back to, that this was kind of like the big manual for me to get to where I want to be. So thank you guys so much for listening and watching, and I will see you guys on the next one.